You know, I've been wondering, why is it that after 3 years of getting the Control Plus system in LEGO Technic sets, it still remains quite controversial among Technic fans? Many outright refuse to buy the new Control Plus sets simply because they require an app. It only takes a glance at some Amazon reviews, Eurobricks posts, and more to realize just how many Technic fans don't like the new powered up system. Today, I have identified 3 main reasons for why Control Plus or powered up still remains largely controversial despite it being out in Technic sets for quite some time now. So the first reason has to do with the problematic release of Powered Up. In order to really understand this, we have to go all the way back to the app-controlled Batmobile, which is the first time ever we saw the Powered Up branding. This system was also used previously in the LEGO Boost Robotics kit as well as the We Do 2.0 set, but at that point, the system was only seen as just another robotics set, and not necessarily a replacement for power functions. The app-controlled Batmobile got 2 medium motors as well as 1 train hub. At the time, it was impossible to make custom controllers natively from the Powered Up app, and so you were limited to just the app-controlled Batmobile as well as the trains. On top of that, the Powered Up system at the time was seen as a massive downgrade from the previous power function system, since the new one only gave you access to 2 ports and the motors weren't any faster or more powerful than the previous ones. All the new system provided at the time was Bluetooth and nothing more. The lack of customization that the previous power function system offered left many fans frustrated, since the whole point of LEGO is to be creative and experiment with LEGO pieces that you have. For a really long time, the powered up system prevented creativity and forced you to stay locked to the basic, very few control interfaces. Now 2019 rolls around, and we got our first Control Plus or powered up LEGO Technic set in the form of the 42099 Extreme Off-Roader. This introduced some brand new hardware like the 4-port standard Control Plus hub, the extra large motor as well as the large motor, both of which came with built-in rotation sensors, much like the motors we had in LEGO Mindstorms. However, the lack of customization problem still remained, and it was impossible to natively make your own custom control interfaces with either the Powered Up app or the Control Plus app. When the 4100 Excavator came out, possibly the most anticipated Technic set of 2019, the Powered Up system was still not customizable. This is a major reason for why I didn't like the set that much. Finally, in late 2020, well after the release of the 6x6 valve articulated hauler, we finally got the Powered Up update we've all been waiting for, which allowed users to create custom control interfaces. So since 2018, we had to wait more than 2 years to finally be able to make custom control interfaces, and if we count from 2019, we had to wait more than a whole year for Technic sets to be finally completely customizable. As a result, the Powered Up system simply left a bad taste in many people's mouths, and many fans simply refused to give Powered Up another try after experiencing it in 2019 and realizing there is no way to customize it. The LEGO Powered Up system left an extremely bad first impression, and that bad experience is still what drives so many away from the new Powered Up system to this day. Also, the original Control Plus hub will get discontinued and a new version with 4 screws will replace it, so it only will add another reason for why Powered Up makes such a bad first impression. If you'd like to know which is better, power functions or Control Plus, uncover all the secrets of LEGO Technic, get information about the upcoming LEGO Technic sets, and much more, then make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so that you can learn all about LEGO Technic. But no pressure. No pressure. The second reason for why Control Plus is so controversial is the requirement to use an app to control all the RC LEGO Technic sets. Parents try to reduce their kids' screen time as much as possible, since they already spend way too much time playing video games and more. LEGO has always served as an avenue to escape computers and to refresh yourself. With Control Plus, the parent has to let their kid use a smartphone, and that can be really problematic when you're trying to get them to stop spending so much time on the iPad. Computers have become a necessity in our daily lives. They are used for homework, productivity, playing games, and pretty much everything else. So having a way to escape that is extremely helpful. Using a digital controller can also just feel awkward, especially with the sliders. I always end up slipping my fingers beyond the sliders, and it's just not very ergonomic. I wish that the Control Plus app at least made use of the smartphone's taptic engine to send taptic feedback as you use the sliders, press buttons, use the joysticks, and more. With physical controllers, it is much easier to feel the joysticks and to know exactly where everything is without ever looking at the controller. With a smartphone, it's a different story. If you don't repeatedly look at your smartphone, you will have no idea where your fingers are relative to the actual controls, and so your finger might be way off from the slider. Another problem with using the Control Plus app is that eventually it'll be unsupported on future devices. Sure, the hub will remain programmable with pie bricks and such, but it certainly won't be easy to use anymore unless you have an old smart device that you never updated and it still works. Hopefully, LEGO will keep supporting old Control Plus sets for a really long time, and this won't be much of an issue in the future. The closest thing to this is the old LEGO Mindstorm's RCX software. The only way to use it on a modern computer is with a virtual machine, but that has its own problems, like being slow, crashing, and more. Something similar could happen with the Control Plus app many years in the future. Finally, the third reason for why Control Plus is so controversial is that all the electronics are overpriced, which I believe is the single biggest reason for why Control Plus remains so controversial to this day. The Power Functions XL motor costs just $10, while the large motor cost $14. Their respective Control Plus counterparts each cost a whopping $40. That's absolutely overpriced. And you might think that since the new powered up motors have built-in rotation sensors, their price is justified. However, the LEGO Mindstorm's NXT servo motor cost only $25, and that has nearly double the torque of the Control Plus XL motor while also having a built-in rotation sensor. The LEGO Mindstorm's EV3 medium motor is very similar to the powered up motors while also just costing $30 in comparison to $40. Since the powered up motors are so much more expensive than the Power Functions ones, it makes it really difficult to buy these motors in bulk and to upgrade to the new Control Plus system. Just 4 motors will cost $160, and that's not including the extremely overpriced Control Plus hub, which adds another $90, which is the same price as some low-end smartphones. However, this is just the tip of the iceberg, since the single most controversial powered-up item is the basic battery box. The Power Functions battery box costs just $7, and its equivalent in the powered-up line, which has no Bluetooth, no inertial measurement unit, no telemetry, and is practically identical to the Power Functions version, costs a whopping €35. That's equivalent to about $40. I will not pay that much for something that is identical to the $7 Power Functions version. On top of that, I would even say that this new battery box has much worse functionality than the Power Functions one, since it is limited to just 2 ports, instead of being theoretically infinite. While they won't be compatible with rotation sensor feedback, LEGO really needs to release some splitters. These will be extremely useful for more simple things like connecting tons of lights to one port, having a dual motor drive connected to a single port, and much more. What makes this issue even worse is that LEGO never released a converter cable from powered up to Power Functions and vice versa. The 9V to Power Functions transition was much smoother, since just 1 year after the introduction of powered up, we got the Power Functions extension cable, which also served as a Power Functions to 9V converter. Almost immediately, we had compatibility with the older system. WeDo 2.0 was released in 2016, which used the powered-up system, so LEGO had a ton of time to release converter cables, splitters, and other essential accessories. Personally, I really wish that the switch from Power Functions to Control Plus was much smoother, since the rough transition is definitely a reason for why Powered Up and Control Plus remain so controversial to this day. But since Powered Up regularly releases software updates, is it finally better than Power Functions? Click on the video right over here to find out. This is your Unbrick Me here, and I'll see you in the next one.